Estados Unidos, the Spanish word for the United States. Welcome. Good morning and welcome to another beautiful day here in the United States. The United States, it's been a long time since we've been here, but yes, we are here. And one thing that I noticed right away, I'm just coming out of the airport, is that everybody looks the same. We're going to be talking about the United States, the culture, and just the general feel of how things look when you arrive here in the States. So let's go on a little adventure to my hometown in Wisconsin. Let's have some fun. Okay, now hear me out. In the United States, there are definitely different ethnicities. But the further away you go from big cities like New York City and Miami and things like that, the further you get from different ethnicities. Whereas in all of Latin America, you have different people from all around Latin America that move to that country. And with that come the way that they look, the way that they act, the way that they talk, the food that they eat, all of those different things. Whereas here in the United States, you have a typical Subway, you have a Panda Express, and you have pretzels, you have McDonald's, you have Burger King, you have all these things that are pretty similar throughout the country. Whereas when you go to Latin America, in just a quick 30-minute, 45-minute flight, you get a totally different culture. I mean, completely different. Different currency as well. Here you can go from state to state and you still use the dollar, and you can get into the state without showing a passport or any ID. But in Latin America, you do all of that and you get a totally different culture, and it's kind of a melting pot when you move to one of these cultures and you see the different foods and the different ways that people talk and act, and I just think you get a totally different experience in Latin America in any different country where there's a melting pot of different cultures, the way people act, the way people look, and all of that. Whereas I think when you land here in the United States, to me, almost everything looks very similar no matter where you land. You're always going to find a McDonald's, although that's probably true in Latin America as well. All right, time to go to the bathroom. So what is this thing called? I grew up calling it a bubbler. In Wisconsin, you call this thing a bubbler, but typical place would be a water fountain. Anyways, I think that there are just so many different cultural differences and things when you're in Latin America, but here, I mean, almost to me, and I know this is naive after not living here for a long time, everything looks the same. And look, I didn't even see this. There's a McDonald's right there. Ah, man. So similar everywhere I go. And United States flag. So, let me prove my point. Here are 5 things that every American, and yes, they call us American even though everyone in South America is technically American, but we are American because we are not Brazilian, Ecuadorian, Chilean. We have to be something, so we're American. Every American does these 5 things, starting with driving. In North America, Americans have a car. Almost every single American has a car, and they do not use stick shift. Not manual, it's automatic cars because they're cheaper, they're easier, and, well, why would you have a stick shift car when it's cheaper to have an automatic car, especially on these big highways that, I mean, they just take forever to get anywhere, so you're just putting it in cruise control most of the time. So, yes. Every American has a car. Not so much the public transportation here. Woo. Okay, now let's talk bathrooms. In the United States, everyone throws away their toilet paper in the toilet. You don't have to put it into a bin or anything like that, and I don't even know how it works, but it decomposes in the water and you don't have to worry about putting it next to you into a bin that you take out every other day. So that's kind of nice. And what else makes the United States very unique compared to Latin America and Ecuador? Well, let's get out of the bathroom and I'll show you. And the next thing is that typically in the United States, you're not going to have a fence around your yard. It's just this wide open space that anybody can come in and knock on your door, literally, drop off an Amazon package because, well, Amazon trucks are at your house almost every day if you live here in the United States. I mean, leave it in the comment. Is that true or is that true? And I mean, here, dogs, yes, we have lots of dogs, but you don't leave them outside during the day. Typically, you're going to put them inside in your house, sometimes in a little kennel or a crate type thing. And then outside is where they get to go to the bathroom. You throw the ball and you have all this space in a typical United States yard. Of course, there are going to be cities and things like that are going to be different, but this is going to be your typical backyard in the United States. Isn't it beautiful? There are honestly so many things that make the United States unique. I mean, you start with not paying for bathrooms, which is kind of nice here. You just stop on the side of the road and you go to an actual bathroom. You don't pee on the side of your car like you do in Ecuador. There are plenty of places to go in an actual bathroom, but I'm talking about the campfires, because campfires, I think, are very unique to the United States. Of course, you have campfires in Latin America, and then you put some meat over it, and it's a beautiful thing. Here, though, a campfire is usually just making a fire, and then you can make different things, but the typical thing is going to be roasting marshmallows and making s'mores. These are little graham crackers, which I can't find graham crackers anywhere in Ecuador. You have graham crackers, a piece of Hershey's chocolate, and then after that you have your roasted, perfectly browned marshmallow that you put on top of that. The chocolate melts, you put another piece of graham cracker on the top, and ooh, it's so, so good. But I feel like this is a very North American thing to do. I don't know. Do you live in Latin America or another country besides the United States or maybe Canada and make s'mores? I feel like this is very American. The campfire, which we're going to start very soon. The other thing is that, well, there's multiple things, but the big thing is the sports. There's so many different sports that are played here in the United States, and that's why sometimes the United States is not very good at football, like soccer football, because you also have baseball, frisbee, I guess, ultimate frisbee, you have golf, you have all these different sports, and when you land in the United States, you can definitely see this because you look around on the airplane and you see a baseball field next to a football field, next to a track, and they're all playing like rugby or, I don't know, lacrosse or something like that. It's crazy the amount of sports that are here. And then also, well, I'm gonna fall over. Also, the work week. So typically, the work week here in the United States is going to be 9 to 5, and then after 5 o'clock you come home, you have dinner, you watch something on TV at 7 o'clock or so, and then you go to bed around 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock, and you do the same thing. And I think that's different because, well, you finish your work week on Friday here. So Monday through Friday. In a lot of places in Latin America, you work Monday through Saturday. So Saturday is about a half day, and then you have the other half of the day and you have all Sunday off. So in Latin America, it's a beautiful thing on Sunday because you get to be with your family the entire day. Here in the United States, it's kind of beautiful as well because you get your weekend, your Saturday and Sunday, to be with family. Sometimes you can go travel for a long weekend, and I think that's a really beautiful thing as well. But 9 to 5, almost everyone works at, and 8 hours a day, and you work 5 days a week. I think those are a couple of differences that I see when I come here to the United States and talk to family and things like that of their work schedule. Not everyone is like that. This is a big generalization, but in general, I think that's interesting. So what do you think? Is this true or not true? Are these comparisons on or not on? I mean, what do you do socially in the United States? It depends on where you live in the United States, and a lot of these things that I'm talking about will also depend on where you live in the United States and the sports that you like to do. But for me and for Moses, our son, he typically just plays football, soccer in Ecuador, and that's okay. He loves that sport, and it's nice to narrow down one of the sports. Also, tennis can be popular, volleyball can be popular in Ecuador, so I'm being very general, but when you think about these things and you look at the differences between the United States and Latin America, and specifically Ecuador, it's just so apparent to me after being in Ecuador now for 3.5 years and now coming back to the United States and just seeing these different things. And Moses, when we arrive in the airport, saying, "What do I do with this?" in the toilet paper. And it's like, "Where's the garbage?" And I'm like, "No, you put it in the toilet." I think that's just so interesting. And then you always have to have a car here, because around here and most of the United States, you're not going to have public transportation unless you're in a city. And many people live outside of the city where you need cars and you need to rent a car in order to go anywhere. And I just think it's really expensive. And the other piece is, about a week before I even got here to the United States, my mom said, "Okay, I'm going to the grocery store. What do you need?" Because the grocery stores are further away, so you have to go to the grocery store maybe every week and pack your whole big fridge with things for the week so you don't have to keep going to the grocery store. Whereas Latin America, as you know, there's a corner store on every corner. And then there's corner stores in between those corners. So I think it's really cool that you have that in the United States, the big supermarkets, but I really enjoy Latin America, where you get to go to get your fresh bread or your fresh whatever it is at the corner store whenever you want, and just by walking instead of taking your car. I think that's pretty cool. Anyways, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about these comparisons. Am I on? Am I off? What do you think? Leave a comment. I hope that you enjoyed this video for today. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Check me out on Instagram and TikTok. And from here in the United States, I'll be back in Ecuador soon, sharing awesome and fun videos from there. But first, we have my sister's wedding, which I'm really looking forward to. We'll see you guys next time. But for now, ciao, Pascal.